Today, I'm delighted to have someone who has a way into the electric vehicle sort of industry. I know it's not even a decade old, this industry, and it's just good to catch up and hear all the exciting stuff that's happening across the world. Thanks, Anushri. Why don't you introduce yourself and your company a little bit, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. My name is Anushri Dasgupta. I am a technical sourcing recruiter for Rivian, an electric vehicle company. Prior to that, I was working for Amazon for about 6 years. And before that, I was actually working as a human resources generalist for a consulting company. I have a master's in sociology and a bachelor's in communication.
Great. So you've seen it evolve, and since the first thing people do once they get a product out there or a prototype is to then scale and grow. And from the human resources side, you've seen that scale happen. So tell us a little bit about the electric vehicle industry in general, and then what trends that you foresee in the future.
So one really interesting thing was, of course, Tesla really popularized the big, electric vehicle ownership trend, and kind of made it started to make it popular worldwide. Europe, of course, has a lot of organizations that are coming that made electric vehicles popular. China has actually been quite the pioneer in Asian markets, not just for electric vehicles, but for things like public transportation, right, like buses and things like that. So the United States, other than Tesla, was actually, I would say, probably even lagging behind a little bit, but it's starting to catch up. There's Rivian, of course, which is the company I work for. There's Lucid, which is another organization. There are quite a few organizations that are starting to, like Ford, for example, like, GM, Chevy, they're all coming up with their electric vehicles. So there's definitely been quite the trend. I would say probably in the last 5 years, really, for for this push for electric vehicles, for a number of reasons. Although it's probably still quite expensive to buy right now, the overall savings are going to be much greater because, of course, you're saving on fuel costs, and B, it's better for the environment, right? Global warming is going to decimate the earth. We're losing species populations. We're already losing quite a few wildlife habitats. So the more there's awareness of global warming and what it's going to do to the world, and when you think about future generations, then this is going to be quite critical. So yeah, and I would say probably there's actually been a lot of EV news lately, probably because of the rising fuel prices, right? Like in the last couple of weeks, right? Like it's just been in the news a lot. There are different types of electric vehicles. We're obviously talking about the Tesla, luxury vehicles. Rivian, for example, solely focuses on pickup trucks and SUVs because that's what the North American market consumer really wants. There are also delivery vans, for example, which Rivian is also creating for Amazon very specifically. And you also have electric vehicles that are autonomous, which aka self-driving, which is another category in itself. And like I mentioned, there are in China they've already started seeing an influx of, for example, electric buses. So there's like the B2B as well as the B2C market, and those have its own unique challenges. Pretty much for, I would say, the electric vehicle industry, it's still a rising industry, right? There's still going to be a lot of pushback on people who are used to the old-fashioned way of using vehicles that run on fuel. There's also the challenges that come with any time software is involved or integrated. There are going to be supply chain issues, adaptability issues. Not every household, for example, is going to have the infrastructure to charge a vehicle. If you, for example, have a shared garage, that's going to be pretty hard to have that installed. So those are challenges that need to be addressed still. the cost needs to be reduced so that obviously more people can have access to it. But these are growing challenges that I think the industry is going to address, and hopefully this is something that a majority of consumers can adopt. In my household, there is a Tesla, so that's something we have started using already. So but we still also happen to have a traditional Chevrolet vehicle as well as a backup.
It's fantastic to see all the interesting developments in the electric vehicle industry, right through from delivery vans to pickup trucks to big vehicles like trucks, but also, of course, the luxury, snazzy Tesla products that are rolling out. In terms of the future, there's autonomous vehicles. There's of course semi-autonomous. There's new features perhaps being designed. What are the trends you see at the cutting edge in the electric vehicle industry? How are they like totally re-engineering the idea of the vehicle? Any thoughts on that would be useful. Yeah.
Hi. Yes. So in terms of trends, I think first of all, when the first set of North American electric vehicles came in, they were considered more for luxury. Primarily, one of the big reasons why it was done that way is because of things like the batteries, right? Batteries couldn't say go on for more than certain periods of time, lack of abilities to charge properly, and you probably couldn't take those vehicles on very rough terrains, maybe where there's too much water. So that's actually a big innovation that people don't think about, to have electric vehicles that can go on multiple terrains. That requires technology that is totally different. And so that's actually one of the things that Rivian tapped into is, how can luxury vehicles maybe go on sandy regions, on watery regions? Delivery vans have to deliver in a lot of places, right? So, that's a whole other challenge. Obviously, partnering up with local communities to actually build chargers and get it in locations like, say, state parks or maybe remote freeways as well. So that's really a logistical challenge as well as a technical challenge, and sometimes even political challenges. Getting into what kind of material to use that would be, durable as well as light. So those are very behind the scene technical challenges that like a lot of people don't think about, that's, I would say, probably for most of the electric vehicle companies, that's that's going to be the driving point in what they're coming up with. What are going to be the use cases? There's an electric vehicle company that is going to be very specialized in, for example, food deliveries. They have tied up with one of the major pizza chains to come up with vehicles that are going to be specialized just for that. So yeah, there if you have electric vehicles for different use cases, that's also going to be like a major trend in the industry. That way, they aren't just competing with each other; they actually have different market segments that they're going to capture.
This is fantastic. Very fascinating to hear about the trends in EV industry, and also looking forward to inviting you to a few panels. We run a student-led club at Edbrand, and it'll be fun to have our mechanical engineers, futurists, and students who really think that they want to bring about change and maybe impact the climate change conversation. It'll be just fun to hear your thoughts on those panels too. Looking forward to staying in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks.